The child stands quietly in open space, while the parent remains still nearby. A faint shifting presence behind the parent, subtly echoing each breath. Pausing whenever the parent becomes completely still. The parent slowly reaches forward with steady calm, the presence stretching along the ground and briefly nearing the child's feet before pulling back slightly as if hesitating. The child flinches and takes a small step back, eyes fixed downward, while the parent pauses mid-motion for a brief moment before continuing as if nothing changed. The presence lifts and settles behind the child, now moving gently in sync with the child's breathing. As the child slowly turns their head with growing uncertainty, the child leans closer to the parent, seeking comfort, while the parent remains calm and unaware, and the presence no longer follows the parent at all. The child remains close but glances outward again, the presence subtly expanding and contracting with uneven rhythm, no longer matching the parent's steady breathing pattern. The child steps slightly away, testing distance, while the presence stretches thin between them, briefly lagging before snapping closer behind the child. The parent continues slow, grounded movement, while the child's posture becomes more guarded. And the presence flickers subtly during each small shift. The child pauses completely, holding still, and the presence overshoots slightly before settling. No longer perfectly synchronized with any breathing pattern, the child turns gently in place, scanning empty space, while the presence trails a moment behind each movement before catching up. The parent lowers into a calm, seated posture, unmoving, while the child hesitates between approaching and retreating, shifting weight back and forth. The presence grows slightly larger during the child's hesitation, then compresses again when the child pauses, mirroring uncertainty rather than calm. The child suddenly steps backward more quickly, and the presence reacts with a delayed expansion, briefly exaggerating the movement. The child raises their arms slightly, unsure, while the presence ripples unevenly behind them, no longer smooth or stable. The parent remains still and composed, creating contrast, while the child's movements become sharper and less predictable. The presence begins to fragment at its edges, briefly splitting and reconnecting as the child shifts position again. The child turns quickly in a small circle, and the presence stretches wide before snapping back tightly behind them. The child's movements accelerate into uneven pacing, while the presence expands chaotically, losing any remaining rhythm. The parent remains grounded and still, creating strong contrast as the child's pacing becomes more erratic and unsteady. The child abruptly stops, breathing unevenly, while the presence continues moving for a moment. Before slowly settling behind them, the child remains frozen in place, shoulders slightly raised, while the presence contracts tightly, holding still just behind them without fully settling. The child slowly lowers their shoulders, attempting stillness while the presence briefly stabilizes, before flickering again, not fully settling. The parent shifts subtly in seated posture, steady and calm, while the child watches closely, momentarily distracted from the presence. The child mirrors the parent's slower breathing pattern, and the presence briefly aligns, moving more smoothly for a short moment. A small shift breaks the rhythm as the child glances away, and the presence ripples again, losing its temporary stability. The child steps sideways cautiously, while the presence follows with slight delay, no longer snapping or expanding abruptly. The parent remains still, creating contrast as the child experiments with slower movement, testing control over the presence. The presence responds with reduced intensity, its motion becoming more fluid, though still slightly unstable. The child pauses again, focusing inward, and the presence hovers gently, maintaining distance without expanding. The child takes a deeper, slower breath, and the presence mirrors more closely, its movement becoming noticeably calmer. The parent gently adjusts posture once more, maintaining calm consistency, reinforcing the slower rhythm. The child's stance becomes more grounded, feet steady, while the presence reduces its flickering and stabilizes further. The child slowly raises and lowers their arms, and the presence follows smoothly with minimal delay. The child remains still for a longer moment, slight shifts in breathing visible, and the presence subtly wavers before returning to near stillness. A quiet pause extends, the child holding position, while the presence gently contracts and expands in a slow, controlled rhythm. The child gently shifts weight forward, and the presence moves subtly without distortion, maintaining stability. The parent slowly stands, maintaining calm continuity, while the child watches without immediate reaction. The child imitates the movement, rising slowly, and the presence follows smoothly. No longer fragmented, the child takes a slow step forward, and the presence glides behind them with controlled, even motion. The parent and child stand together calmly, while the presence remains present but subdued, creating quiet contrast between past chaos and present control. The child stands beside the parent, posture steady, while the presence remains behind them, smaller now, maintaining quiet, controlled movement. The child glances back briefly, acknowledging the presence, then returns attention forward without stepping away. The presence shifts slightly but does not expand, holding its form as the child remains composed. The child takes a slow step forward, and the presence follows smoothly, maintaining a consistent distance. The parent begins a calm walking motion, slow and even, while the child mirrors the pace. The presence continues to follow the child, no longer reacting unpredictably, maintaining steady alignment. The child briefly pauses mid-step, and the presence pauses immediately, fully synchronized. The child resumes walking with more confidence, posture upright, while the presence remains stable and contained. The parent stops and turns gently, maintaining calm presence, while the child continues forward before noticing and slowing. The child turns back toward the parent, and the presence follows the turn without distortion or delay. The child approaches the parent calmly, steps measured, and even, while the presence remains quietly behind. The parent remains still, offering grounded presence, while the child settles into a relaxed stance nearby. The presence slightly softens in shape, appearing less defined. As the child maintains steady breathing, the child places attention inward again, holding still, and the presence mirrors this stillness almost completely. The parent slowly gestures a gentle hand movement, minimal and calm, reinforcing steady rhythm. The child follows the gesture with a small movement, controlled and deliberate, while the presence remains stable. The child pauses after the movement, holding position longer, and the presence becomes nearly indistinguishable. A quiet moment extends, both child and parent still, while the presence fades further into subtle background motion. The child breathes slowly and evenly, posture relaxed, while the presence barely moves at all. The child and parent remain side by side, still and grounded. As the presence stabilizes into a faint, non-intrusive form, the child stands quietly, posture relaxed, while the faint presence remains behind them, now barely noticeable and fully stable. The child takes a slow step forward alone, and the presence follows gently without any distortion or delay. The child pauses and looks back once more, acknowledging the presence without reacting or stepping away. The child remains still, allowing the presence to settle completely, no longer expanding or contracting. The parent remains nearby, calm and grounded, while the child maintains steady breathing independently. The child gently shifts posture, balanced and composed, and the presence mirrors the movement with perfect stability. A longer pause follows, both figures still, with the presence now appearing as a natural extension. Rather than disruption, the child slowly moves forward again, confident and steady, while the presence remains quiet and unobtrusive. The child no longer checks behind, continuing forward calmly, maintaining rhythm without hesitation. The parent watches peacefully as the child stands independently, both still, grounded, and aligned. The presence softens further until nearly invisible, maintaining subtle continuity without drawing attention. The child stands in complete stillness, breathing evenly, as all movement settles into quiet balance.